Hello, my name is Barnhardt, and I'm the person who says the things that everyone else is too terrified to say. The topics now before us are the twin entitlements of Social Security and Medicare. These two entitlement programs, as they stand right now, have shackled the United States with unfunded liabilities of over $100 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars. The lowest of the low-end estimates is $61 trillion. But I can promise you that it is every bit of $100 trillion. Consider that just a few short years ago, these unfunded mandates were quoted as a mere $10 trillion liability. Given inflation and the historical proclivity for the government to underestimate the cost of everything by a factor of 10 to 15, I can say with the utmost confidence that $100 trillion is an extremely low estimate of what these programs would end up costing. Which actually brings me to my point. 60 trillion, 100 trillion, 200 trillion, 500 trillion. It doesn't matter. It's all tilting at windmills. The entire discussion is meaningless. I saw a Republican town hall discussion taped on Monday, June 13th, 2011, a week ago today, that was dispiriting beyond description. One of the participants in this town hall was Representative Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, who is widely heralded as one of the best minds in government today. He's the author of the so-called Ryan Plan to reform and save Social Security and Medicare. He's the darling of the political right in this country. That's all well and good except for one problem. The Ryan Plan is completely and utterly meaningless. It is just more dishonest political pandering. It is making promises to people that Ryan and all the others know can never, ever be kept in order to curry votes and keep us, the unwashed masses, pacified and compliant for as long as possible. Even Ron Paul has never spoken the full truth about Social Security and Medicare that I know of. But I will, so here it goes. Social Security and Medicare are criminal Ponzi schemes. The only possible way to keep these Ponzi schemes from completely collapsing and destroying the entire economy, our constitutional republic, and Western civilization by extension, as we have known it, is to rapidly sunset and eliminate them entirely. Let me say that again. The only possible way to keep these Ponzi schemes from completely collapsing and destroying the entire economy, our constitutional republic, and Western civilization as we have known it, is to rapidly sunset and eliminate them entirely. I hear people like Paul Ryan constantly talking about the need to save Social Security and save Medicare. That is all the proof you need that these people are either terminally stupid or criminal liars. These are Ponzi schemes we're talking about. In case there's anyone out there who doesn't know what a Ponzi scheme is, here's the rough definition. A Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment operation that pays returns to separate investors, not from any actual profit earned by the organization, but from money paid in by subsequent investors. The Ponzi scheme solicits, or in this case, coerces new investors by offering returns other investments cannot guarantee in the form of short-term returns that are either abnormally high or unusually consistent, with unusual consistency, namely a lifetime monthly annuity payment after retirement being the selling point of Social Security, coupled with the threat of having your property confiscated and or being sent to prison if you don't participate in the scheme before retirement. The perpetuation of the returns that a Ponzi scheme pays requires an ever-increasing flow of money from investors, or in this case, victims, to keep the scheme going. Most of you have probably heard of Bernie Madoff, who ran a multi-billion-dollar investment Ponzi scheme on Wall Street. He told his investors that he was investing in stocks and bonds and hedge funds, but never carried any actual positions. He used new money coming into the fund to pay off the original earlier investors, and Madoff and his family skimmed and pocketed billions of dollars, all right under the noses of the incompetent, corrupt financial industry regulators that we have in this country. Bernie Madoff will die in prison, as well he should. He's a criminal of the highest order. We all understand that with crystal clarity. But yet all politicians talk about the need to save Social Security and Medicare. That is every bit as idiotic as saying that the Madoff Ponzi scheme should have been bailed out and saved. What are you talking about? You don't save a criminal enterprise. You shut it down and clean up the mess as best you can. But people are still going to get hurt. There's nothing that can be done about that after the fact. That's why it was a criminal scheme, because it hurt people. It's the same with Social Security and Medicare. Don't talk to me about saving them. Talk to me about shutting them down as quickly as possible, which in this case will still take decades, and cleaning up the mess. Are people going to get hurt? Of course, it's a criminal scheme. But if the choice is between discomfort and pain that can be suffered through and survived, or guaranteeing the collapse and total destruction of the economy, the republic, and civilization, I choose the survivable pain and suffering. In treating Madoff as an arch criminal and Social Security and Medicare as morally licit cultural responsibilities, what you are in fact doing is applying the Stalin principle. Joseph Stalin said, "One death is a tragedy. 1 million is a statistic." This is exactly the same. The licitness of an activity is being determined solely by its scale. Stalin rationalized his mass murder by saying that once a certain numerical threshold was passed, the activity itself ceased to be constrained by any moral matrix. And so now our government and politicians are paraphrasing Stalin thusly. Madoff is a crime. Social Security and Medicare are statistics. Let's look at it from another angle. Let's say that you are diagnosed with a large malignant cancerous tumor. If you do not begin aggressive treatment, the tumor will kill you. You go to your oncologist's office to discuss the plan of treatment, and your oncologist says to you, "You have a very aggressive tumor. We must begin a course of treatment, although I will not prescribe any course of treatment that causes you any physical discomfort. Additionally, our top priority in this must be protecting the tumor and making sure that we don't do anything to harm the tumor. The tumor must survive. We must protect and save the tumor so that you and the tumor can continue to live symbiotically." What would you think about that? Would you continue to see that oncologist, or would you seek out an oncologist whose goal was to completely remove the tumor and exterminate all vestiges of the cancer from your body so that you could survive 100% cancer-free, even if that meant a potentially painful course of treatment? Anyone talking about saving Social Security and Medicare is talking about saving and defending a malignant tumor at the expense of the host, which can only result in the death of both. And that's exactly what we're looking at here, kids. I mentioned Paul Ryan earlier. Paul Ryan and all the other politicians of his ilk are the bad oncologist. Heck, let's not sugarcoat it. The politicians are Bernie Madoff. They're the ones running the scheme. They're the ones hustling for new suckers to add to the rolls. And they're the ones who are skimming trillions of dollars for themselves and their cronies. The proof of this is a quote from Ryan after a question was posed to him by an audience member in the aforementioned town hall meeting just a week ago. The audience member asked Ryan how she could be assured that there would be Medicare for her in her old age, citing the fact that she had paid into Medicare for 30 years and thus she felt entitled to a payout when she reached her retirement. Within Ryan's response was the following statement, quote, "Medicare, along with Social Security, I would argue, are the most important federal programs we have." Unquote. That's right. Paul Ryan thinks that these intrinsically immoral criminal Ponzi schemes are the two most important functions of the federal government. He goes on to say, quote, "And so what we want to do is save and strengthen the program." Unquote. According to Ryan, the perpetuation of criminal activity is the most important function and top priority of the federal government. Stalin would be proud.